Let's move to Kirghizia now. Here is Vladimir's question. Could you articulate your vision on two news events? The conflict between current and former presidents of Kirghizia, and a limit on revolutions remark by Medvedev. Nothing has been happening in Kirghizia lately, and suddenly, out of the blue, all this.
There is one simple reason for Central Asia to be quiet. Russia, as the subject of the global governance, is rising, and the United States, as the toolkit of the global governance, is weakening by the day. Accordingly, all Russian Empire, the Soviet Union territory, and all adjacent territories, it is a priori the zone of Russia's interests. When you have neighbors, whether you like it or not, you have to communicate with them, and accordingly, you build relationships. The United States cannot govern Central Asia anymore, even though Americans still try puffing and huffing and simply won't leave. But Russia cannot yet govern Central Asia, even though the development of the customs union, Eurasian Economic Community is ongoing, and all the rest, all of it, is in progress. As a result, a time window appeared when Central Asia's states, to some degree, not completely, got left unattended.
Here, let's recall our analytical article state.
A state must be supported by the culture of its people. The culture of the people must have those information modules that would form a state on a contemporary level. If the culture lacks those contemporary modules, then such a nation may become a part of another state. For example, Russian Empire provides cultural national autonomy, and the culture of Russian people provides information modules of a contemporary state. In that environment, every individual may be professionally competent and keep his national culture. When the Soviet Union was destroyed, that information module support was removed, and national states were created. When higher-level information module support is being removed, nations begin to build their states based on their national culture's information modules. Thus, they fall back to the level supported by their national culture. So when these nations that use national languages start to build their own governance system, they have to borrow terminology from outside. What do we have as a result? Republics of Central Asia, to some degree, got left to their own devices. But the level they're at is such that everyone who grabs the power eliminates all possible competitors, challengers for that power. Look, when the Sultan came to power in Turkey, he strangled all his brothers. All Central Asian republics dropped down approximately to that level. All of them. As a result, in the very same Kirghizia, Akayev ran away, Bakiyev ran away, Atambayeva outmaneuvered. Atambayev seemingly made an agreement with Jinbekov to assure his security. But no, the culture of the nation creates mass statistics of a behavior. So regardless of personal promises, an individual embodies exactly the level of nationhood culture up to which that nation grew up to. That was it. Atambayev was doomed.
Этот регион расшатывать не надо ни глобальщикам, ни страновикам американским,
American country elite hopes to return here fully and would like to keep the balance, avoid the unrest, which may cause Russia to move in and push the US out. Global elite don't need to destabilize this region either. That is why Medvedev, who is positively the American lackey, visited the region and said, "Revolution's limit is reached. Folks, finish this infighting. Naturally, a new Khan should strangle the previous one, and you clearly demonstrate it in your daily political life. But it is enough already." This is the live illustration of our book State. Naturally, all states that have their interests there are involved. They are trying to react to the situation. But the process itself is this. The nation's culture doesn't allow Kirghizia state to function at the same level as Russia does. The second option is to return to Russia. Look, Putin gave the assurance to Yeltsin, and he kept his promise. That is impossible in Central Asia republics without relying on outside support structures. That is why Nazarbayev keeps some authority powers. Otherwise, he would have to die. There is no other way around it. The level of Kazakhstan's statehood, which is at the stage of cities construction, exactly correlates with the information modules in the nation's culture.
I would like to remind our listeners that publications A War and A State is a System of Nations Survival you can find in the Analytics section on our website.
In the second volume, I think.
Yes, and in particular, there are plans to publish the book A State is a System of Nations Survival. It was the last question for today.
We talked about Kirghizia here. Everything falls into place if to observe these events with an understanding of how complex social supersystems are governed. Same with meetings in Moscow. What happened in Ukraine? What is happening in the United States? You need to understand one simple thing. The knowledge is power. Take this power in your hands. Master the conception of social safety, sufficiently general theory of governance. Be conceptually masterful. Protect your and your family's interests. Peaceful skies over your head. Happiness. Until next time.